Journey to the City of the King, an adaptation of John Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress. Part 7. Journey's End. Christian and Hopeful had just reached the bottom of the gently sloping hill, which was very pleasant to walk down because the views were so beautiful. Some kind shepherds nearby, who were feeding their flocks, led Christian and Hopeful to take in the view at the top of a small ridge. "From here," said a shepherd, "you can get your first glimpse of the beautiful city." Christian actually saw light reflecting off the golden roofs of the beautiful city itself. What an encouragement that was! Everything they had experienced up to this point was definitely worth going through just for a sight of that. Their hearts seemed to love the king to bursting. "Just keep watch right to the end of the road so that you don't go dropping off," warned a shepherd as he leaned on his staff. Along the road, Christian noticed a man that joined the king's road from a little crooked, twisted lane. It was quite amazing how such a thin neck could hold such a large, bulbous head. Christian called to him. "Where are you from, and where are you going?"
"I was born back there in the country, and I'm going to the beautiful city."
"Do you think you'll be let in?"
"Why not? They let everybody else in."
"Not everybody. You must have a roll of assurance. Has the king given you one?"
"No, but it should be all right, because I've always lived a good life, and I'm travelling on the same road as you are, so we should all get to the same destination."
"But the king's travellers must go through the narrow gate to start the road at the cross." At this, the man stretched his neck as high as it would go, making his head look even bigger than ever.
"I'll be all right. Just because it's the way you came doesn't mean we all have to do it the same. It was right for you to start where you did, but it's just as right for me to join the road here."
"What's your name?" asked Hopeful.
"Ignorance. Ignorance. I'm from the town of Conceit."
"I'm afraid you won't be let into the beautiful city," said Hopeful, "if you just rely on yourself and if you bypass the cross."
"Gentlemen,"
Ignorance said, with his head wobbling from side to side as if it was about to drop off,
"this is the first time I've ever met you, and yet you are being rather rude. Let me follow my religion my way, and you follow yours. No one from our town has ever gone the way of the cross, and I doubt whether we would know the way anyway."
He was obviously a bit upset by Christian and Hopeful's conversation with him, so he stopped to have a quick nap as his head was aching a little bit. "Perhaps he'll catch up with us later," said Christian to Hopeful. As Christian and Hopeful walked along, they found the road led them to a misty vale that made them feel very tired and drowsy. "I can hardly keep my eyes open. I just want to sleep all the time. Can we just have a nap?" said Hopeful. "If you sleep, you may never wake again. Remember what the shepherd said? We must keep watch till the end." Poor Hopeful looked shocked at his own stupidity. "Oh, if I'd been alone, I would surely have found my death. How good it is to have company on this journey." Suddenly there was a rich smell, a beautiful aroma that lifted their tired heads as they saw that they were in a wonderful garden full of flowers and fruit, all very brightly coloured. It was fantastic.
Look, there, through the trees. Do you see it, Christian?
Yes, I do. It must be.
It is, said a stranger. It is the beautiful city. Well, just a glimpse of it anyway.
And there, standing beside Christian and Hopeful, were several shining ones, special people who'd come from the beautiful city itself.
Welcome to the journey's end, they said. There are just 2 more tests to go through before you can enter the city of the king. Come, follow us. Here is the first.
There, before the travellers, was a very wide river. It was called the River of Death. Its waters were dark as night. "Oh," said Christian, "how are we to cross over that?"
"You will have to walk through the water," replied the Shining One. "But you must not be afraid. The city is on the other side, and you will very soon be safe in its gates."
Hopeful raised his head and looked across the river, and on the opposite shore he could see a path winding up the hillside towards the glorious golden gates.
"Oh, Christian," he said, "we need not be afraid. We are so very near to the city now."
But Christian's eyes had grown dim with fear, and he could not see the light beyond the river. He shivered as he looked at the water, and then he turned once more to the Shining Ones. "It's deep," he said. "We shall be drowned if we try to cross it."
"No," replied the Shining Ones. "You will not find it too deep. You must not look at the water. You must lift your eyes to the light, and the king will help you. We will meet you on the other side."
And as Christian walked, he felt that he would sink and be lost. He started to remember all the king's laws that he had broken, and this made him sink all the lower. "I'm lost! I'll be locked out of the city! I know it!"
"Remember the cross," said Hopeful. "It was there that you were forgiven. Remember that. See how the king loved you, and he still loves you."
"Yes, you're right. It's true. I can begin to see the light again." When Ignorance came to the dark river of death, he could see the walls of the beautiful city on the other side, and knew that his journey would not be ended until he crossed the water. He stood for a few minutes wondering what he should do. And then he saw just what he needed. A boat and a boatman called False Hope.
"I'll take you across the river," said the boatman. "It's much easier this way. Those in front tried to walk it, but they're a bit mad."
It didn't take long for the boatman to get Ignorance across to the other side.
"What do I do now?"
asked Ignorance.
"Well, make your way up to that gate and knock, and they'll let you in."
As Ignorance walked up the hill, he read the words above the gates.
"Blessed are those who wash their robes, that they may have the right to the tree of life, and may go through the gates into the city."
Those words made him tremble a little, and he looked at his tatty old clothes. They certainly weren't washed, but he thought perhaps that they would wash them later. He knocked on the door.
"I'm here! Let me in!"
And he knocked again.
I say, open up! I'm here!"
"Where is your roll of assurance?" asked the servant of the king from the wall above the door.
I didn't think I needed one, because I've lived a very good life,
said Ignorance rather timidly. Then 2 shining ones flew down from over the wall with a large bag, and as they flew towards Ignorance, they said,
"The king does not know you."
And they took him from the gates of the beautiful city to the darkest hell. When Christian and Hopeful came out of the water, the 2 shining ones saluted them and led them towards the gates. They walked up the hill with an ease they had never known before. Above the gates were written in golden letters, "Blessed are those who wash their robes, that they may have the right to the tree of life, and may go through the gates into the city." And as they stood at the gates, the shining ones knocked and said,
"This is the last test."
A trumpet was blown, and the king's servant called from the wall above the gates,
"Have you the rolls of assurance?"
"We have," said Christian and Hopeful, "and they have the king's seal on them." Another blast of the trumpet, and the doors were opened. I can't possibly begin to describe the sight of wonder and joy. It was fantastic. There were streets of shining gold, and scores of joyful people, all made perfect by the king, and wearing crowns upon their heads. Christian and Hopeful completed their journey, for they had come to their true home.